a.m., our communications center received a 911 call reporting a fire on 10 Mile just west of Middle Belt Road. They dispatched all 5 of our fire stations, which consists of 23 firefighters. We arrived within 5 minutes. On our arrival, our firefighters found a working fire in the front east corner of the home, and we are also encountered 12 patients suffering from smoke inhalation. Out of the 12 patients, we have 8 civilians, people that were in the home at the time of the fire, and 4 police officers. Now I'll let Chief Piggott talk about later how the police officers sustained smoke inhalation. The fire was extinguished in about 15 minutes. All 12 people received advanced life support treatment on the scene and transported to a local hospital within 25 minutes. Right now we have staff at the scene that are investigating the fire. The home is owned by the Tawhid Center, a faith-based religious organization that is directly across the street. Due to those circumstances, the ATF is automatically notified of all fires associated with places of worship. They arrived on scene and spoke with our investigators that are at the scene, that consists of both Farmington Hills firefighters that are trained in fire investigation, and also Farmington Hills police detectives. Our investigative team has not noticed anything suspicious upon their first look, although since the ATF was on the scene and offering up their services for investigative help, we took advantage of their help. So that is the reason that ATF is currently on the scene assisting our investigators, and nothing should be read any further as far as their involvement on the scene. So I can report on the civilians that were transported. There are 8 of them. They range in age from 32 years old to 5 months. Currently, there are 3 that are in critical condition, 3 are stable, and I'm happy to report that 2 have been discharged. I'll like to introduce Chief John Piggott from Farmington Hills Police, and he'll talk about some of the police department's involvement this morning.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming today. As Chief Unruh stated, just before 5 a.m. this morning, officers responded to the 2900 block of 10 Mile on a reported house fire. All the available officers working had responded to that area. Our officers were on site to render aid within 90 seconds of the dispatch call. I am going to take a moment to talk about the heroism officers that they showed this morning. However, I'm going to start with the video. I think that best kind of shows what everybody was dealing with at that time, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail following that.
Where are they? All right, we'll think they're saying there's kids inside.
Okay, has anyone relocated?
I don't think this goes through. You're good, you're good. Police, come here! Get down on the ground. Crawl here, crawl here! Crawl here! You good? Crawl here! Where are you? Crawl here! Hey, the kid! Stay low, honey, stay low. them. Hold on. Hang on. Come here, sweetie. Sit up. Try and sit up. Hang on. She's wedged. You climb over here.
Climb over him.
Climb over here.
Go that way. Go that way. All the way. Go that way.
Are you stuck under him, honey? Oh, Todd.
Girl down.
Go outside. Okay. Over here. There's fire. Here, just.
Anyone else in here?
There's one right here.
Get her out. Get her out. Here.
Give me her.
Get her out.
Give me her.
No, this way.
This way.
There's that door right here, guys.
There's that back door and the open door back here. Can we get him? He's pinned with his foot right there. Hang your leg. Hey, bro, it's falling down. As he's stuck.
There now. Where's that now?
So we gotta move. Turn this way. Turn, we gotta go. Turn, we gotta go. You got him? Here. 506, disregard, we're extracting him now. We're getting him out. Here. Move. You got him? You got him? Come here with me. Come to me. Come with me. No, he's not. He's up. Come on. Crawl. Is that the last man? Small? Where? How many family members total in the house? 3 men. 2 women? 2 women? 2 children? 506. We have 2 men in the back. There should be 1 man in the front, 2 women, 3 children total. We have 2 men with us. I need to count. Here, guys, you guys gotta get up. You guys gotta get up. Walk away from the house.
Anyone still in here?
Where?
Where are you? Jacob, is that you? Yeah. We're good here. Is there anyone else in there?
We don't know.
He said. Get out of there.
Go to the front and get a head count. Go to the front. Get out. Let's close this door and stop it. Stop the back. All right.
764.
So as you can tell from that video, this is a very intense moment when the officers get there. The house is obviously fully engulfed in flames. Black smoke is pouring out all over the windows. And obviously the first reporting officers that are arriving on scene are being told that there are still people inside of the house. From that video, I think you can see how quickly they reacted. Without any hesitation or care for their own well-being, those officers forced entry into that home and immediately got down on the ground and started crawling into the dark smoke of that house, seeking out the people that were inside. I have no doubt in my mind that if the officers were not actively tugging on them and calling to them and pulling them, they would have had no way to know how to get out of that household. Without the flash flights and the calling for help and the pulling of them, I feel that there's no doubt in my mind that we would have at least 3 fatalities of people that were still inside that house. It just goes to show the dedication that our officers have every day, that go out there and without a second thought to their own safety, going into an environment that, you know, truly we are not firefighters. The risk of going into households like this that are under flames and smoke, the fire department will tell you it's the toxic chemicals that are in the smoke that are every bit as much danger than the flames themselves. And you can see that rolling black smoke that's going over them every second that they're in there, and yet they did not come out. They kept pursuing and penetrating into that house trying to find more people. For that, I couldn't be more proud of the way our officers responded to this event today. I am here, though, to tell you that there is some some concern that we have with our officers. As the fire chief said, 4 officers were transported to the hospital, to Corwell Hospital in Farmington Hills, to receive emergency medical aid. Since then, 3 have been transferred to Detroit Receiving Hospital's burn unit on ventilators due to the fact of trouble with their breathing and inability to keep their airways open. So as of right now, we have 3 in serious but stable condition being treated at the Detroit Receiving Hospital in their burn units, 1 who is being continually monitored. So the heroes that I'd like to point out today is Officer Devin Hunt, photographed up here, Officer Nate Shingleton, Officer Turk, and Officer Bukai. Officer Turk, Shingleton, and Hunt right now are on ventilators. Officer Bukai, is currently under observation at the hospital. So I do ask for all the support of the community. I hope for their thoughts and prayers for these officers, and we are praying for not only their full recovery after this incident, but the full recovery of all the innocent people that were trapped inside of the home that are now currently at the hospitals in University of Michigan hospital centers. With that, we can open it up for questions.
What are the first names of the other 2 officers? You said.
I'm sorry. It's Antonetta. I'm sorry. And Officer Turk goes by Dean. It's Muhadeen, but we call him Dean. So Dean Turk, D-E-A-N, is what we call him. So.
Whose body cam were we watching?
I'm sorry. Yeah. So that was Officer Hunt's body cam. He was one of the first in there, and we have the others available also. It was just, which one was the best to show you 4 minutes right now, but we have additional that you can look at also to see what.
With Officer Hunt?
So the first 3 that went in, that was Officer Shingleton, Turk, and Hunt were the first 3 in on that camera view. Officer Buchai, she was on the opposite side of the residence, so she was standing in one of the doorways calling to the residents in the smoke, trying to guide them out of the house additionally. So that's why she received so much smoke inhalation from her position.
What's your reaction? We have a family friend who said there's no doubt, in at least his mind, that they would have died. This would have been fatal if it weren't for them.
Yeah, I don't think, watching it, that's the benefit of having body cams. You can hear the stories, and when you sit back and you watch the videos, and being someone who's been on the road, we've been to fires like this, you see how quickly these things can happen. Sometimes fires look worse during the daytime. When it's nighttime and you can't see the volume of smoke coming out, like it's misleading when they're getting there. Obviously with the amount of flames coming out of the house, they knew that this was basically a fully engulfed residence. And yet, when you kick the door, you have no idea what you're expecting. And so the fact that they're hearing this, and they're humans, they hear this and they know there's people inside. We don't have anything that can help us breathe in these situations. We know the fire department's coming, but in a situation where 90 more seconds, maybe they're all dead. If they did not kick the door and take those 2 minutes in there and start digging through and start pulling them out, there's no doubt. Like there's no way for them, the people inside, to know how to get out of that house. It was fully filled with smoke. They had obviously lost track of where they were. You could almost see by the body position of some of the victims that it looked like, in the one case right here, it looked like the gentleman was carrying the girl and collapsed on top of her. And so when he went down, not only was he trapped in the residence, pinned between a cabinet, he's approximately a 300-pound man laying on top of a girl who's now been breathing. And now our guys are lying on their stomachs trying to pull a 300-pound guy to safety with a girl underneath him. And so you can imagine the stress that they're under at that time, because you don't know how the flames are moving towards you. You don't know what you're inhaling. They're having a hard time breathing, but yet the information is there's still 3 people in the house. So even if they get those 2, they still know there's somebody else there. So, I think this kind of just goes to the selfless nature of our public servants, is that without a second thought, they ran in there. And right now, the hard part is that we have 3 people on ventilators, and we hope they're going to recover from that. So, but that it goes to show what kind of men and women that we have working here, that they were willing to do that. And as their condition progressively got a little worse, I was able to talk to them all today, but this is the nature of fires and inhalation, is that those effects come on over hours sometimes. And over the last few hours, their condition were getting worse and worse until they had to be transferred. But every one of them wasn't asking questions about themselves. They were asking what was going on with the family, like did they make it? So that kind of shows where their hearts and their minds are.
Do you do a lot of fire training with your officers, train with the fire department for these types of scenarios?
We do train with the fire department, so like, you know, we are aware of the risks that go in. You know, I hate to say, like, sometimes the fire department calls us the blue canaries because we tend to run into these situations. But sometimes these are unavoidable. You know, this isn't something where you can stand on the porch and wait. You know, there's people that are right there, and when the officers make entry, like they know the risk that's going in. We do not have self-contained breathing apparatus to protect us. We don't have fire protection. They know when they make that decision to start crawling in there that there's nothing there to protect them, and they're doing their very best. But these are the seconds that count to saving people's lives, and these seconds were in our favor, and we were able to get people out today. But you know, sometimes that comes at a cost, and we're very hopeful and prayerful that everyone comes out of this okay.
What can you tell us about the family, the 3 family members who are in serious condition? Yeah.
I don't have any additional on the family. Perhaps the fire department does. We had brief contact with them when they were down there, just with identifying them and letting them know we were investigating. But Chief Unruh might be able to speak to the families.
So the 3 that are in critical condition right now, I'm happy to report, are not the children. So that's a very positive message to be able to share with you. The other thing, I just spoke to the investigators before I came in here, and they can confirm that there were no working smoke alarms within the home. And I can't emphasize how much these electronic, small electronic things work, and they save lives every day. And if you're a Farmington Hills resident, you can call fire headquarters and you can get them installed for free. So there's no doubt that if they would have had a working smoke alarm, we'd be having a different conversation, and probably there would not be anybody in the hospital.
What do their efforts say to you as a fireman, the character of these officers to run in there for zero concern for themselves?
So I think it's natural. Anybody that's a public safety professional, we're out here to save the public, we're out here to serve the public, and I think it comes natural. Same thing if we were on a scene where we needed to assist a police officer in some fashion and it wasn't a fire or an EMS run, our staff would jump in equally as well.
Are you able to walk us through quickly when you guys got there? What was the kind of scene when you guys got there?
So it's a very chaotic scene from the standpoint that we were dealing with the fire and then had 12 injured people at the same time. And we were spread pretty thin initially. We took care of the most, the sickest of those that were injured, and at the same time a great fire suppression crew was put together and extinguished the fire very rapidly as well. But obviously our priorities were to treat the injured and the sick.
Can you tell us about the 4 officers, how long they've been on force?
So all the officers have less than 5 years of experience. Officer Turk actually came to us from a public safety department, so he was familiar with firefighting as one of his services prior to coming here. So there's probably some level of confidence that he had a little greater knowledge of the fire side of things going in. Officer Hunt is a veteran of the armed forces who has served overseas, and he's the one that you heard talking the most, so you could certainly hear him taking command of the scene and really trying to get information out, head counts, to make sure we were accounting for not only our people but the people that were there. Officer Shingleton and Officer Bukai both were promoted from our cadet ranks within the last few years, so they've only worked for Farmington Hills. And almost to second that, you know, I thank Chief Unruh and his crew. The medics did an outstanding job taking care of all of our people. And to Corwell Hospital, we have a very good working relationship with them. And the amount of care that they gave our people, really all the people involved, but I will go out of my way to say that I really appreciated the efforts that they had taking care of our personnel and providing them all the care that they had, and even to the responding officers and detectives who came down to check on the status of our people. They really were very professional and very good to not only ourselves but the families that were coming down. And the level of care was fantastic, and you know that work relationship was very beneficial today in helping everybody. So
they really didn't know what they're running into. Just put people first.
No, that's the unusual part about it. Like the chief said, like they were out within 2 minutes, and the officers from the time that call came out, they were there kicking a door within 90 seconds, and you can kind of see, like, when they're walking up, all they see is a house fully involved in flames, and it's you don't know that necessarily. You're thinking people are there, but when you get there and there's someone laying on the ground coughing who's saying there's people stuck inside, like that's your immediate moment. Like now you immediately go into life preservation mode, and you have to act, and that's where we're fortunate. Like we have people that act. Failure to act is going to result in people dying, and that's where you're proud that all the training and all their instincts went to this. Like their instincts were to save lives. And when you watch the video for the first time and you see the officer running up to that front door and without a hesitation kick the door and go straight in, there wasn't any hesitation. And that's the kind of thing that you can train for, but when it's time, do people do it? And here's another example where our officers or our firefighters are put to the test, and when they had to act, they did. And these seconds are all the difference in the world between saving someone's life and someone dying. And so that's the part that is very impressive and humbling as a leader of an organization to see our people do that.
How many people lived in the house total at the time of the fire? You know how many people
I think our information were 8 were in the house at the time of the fire.
How many people lived there?
I believe all 8.
Okay.
Can you say anything? You said you spoke with the officers. What did they tell you?
Yeah, I was able to speak to 3 of them before they went on the ventilators. And again, all of them, that was their biggest concern. One, how were the people that they pulled out, and how are their fellow officers? And, it's humbling to hear them not talking about themselves, especially when you're sitting there talking to them and, you're trying to get a hold of their wives or their significant others because they're in the hospital, and, things could get worse, and suddenly, their questions are just like, did the kids make it? Did everybody make it? Where are they? Are they here? How about the other officers? And so even in those moments when they're in a hospital bed, it's still not necessarily about them.